If you subscribed, you may have seen my last video about relearning everything I know about art and going back to the basics. I'm continuing that ambition, and I have a couple of updates on the progress of the sketchbook and some updates on the basic exercises. The sketchbook, first, is the dragon in the room. This choice of sketchbook, I like the paper just fine, but I quickly learned that I can't stand the big ring steel binding on it. The rings get in the way, it's not easy to scan, I'm always finding it to be a barrier with my hand if I choose to draw on one side of the paper or the wrong side or upside down. To get around this, I thought I'd pull the thing apart, do one page at a time, and then put them back into the binding as I went along. And it sounds like a good idea, except it made the sketchbook not very portable. And after just a few pages, I realized I had pages just hanging out everywhere, and they would go back in out of order or get lost completely. I'm committed to this project though, and I'm sticking to it, but for what I want, I won't be going back to this ring binder. The ring binder would be fine if I was intent on tearing pages out and removing the paper as I used it. I'm trying to compromise by putting the rings at the top when I work. It feels less restricting that way. We'll get through it, but the next sketchbook is not going to be a big steel ring binder. Next is the drawings. I film local town board meetings, and I try to bring paper and pens with me. It gets kind of boring, board meeting notes. So I doodled some during the last meeting while I was running the switcher. And then, as I mentioned in my last video, I got the vision to completely relearn how to draw. Making basic lines would be my starting place. I know what it looks like. It looks like the lines are a cop-out, just a cheap way to fill pages without doing the hard work. But trust me when I say that trying to draw straight, consistent lines with a target spot for the beginning and the end is not just idle page filling. It is and it isn't. While doing this, I just discovered a few things that were happening. One, my lines in everything else I was doing were made more intentional and steady. Two, my shading or hatching suddenly was making more sense and would be more unified and cohesive. When it came time to represent a shadowed area, I would settle my hand into the line, making memory of it all. After doing pages of lines, and there will be many more, I find myself eager to get a pen and make marks on paper again. It's not a chore. I can't wait to have a minute to make a few more marks on paper. And I know that eventually it won't just be lines, but I really don't care. There's a real dopamine in making marks on paper again, and I think that's one of the biggest values of that exercise. In the Nia Yao video I saw where I rediscovered this line making exercise, she also shared that students at FCD were instructed to get Pilot High-Tec C04 gel pens, and no place near me has them. But I did find G2 ultrafine .38 pens that are pretty nice. I did order some of the Tec Cs so I could compare the two. When they get here, I'll do a comparison video and pros and cons of both. And maybe that'll help some other new artists that are trying to figure this stuff out too. I do know that the G2 gel ink will bleed heavily if you try to do a watercolor wash or an ink wash on top of your drawing without sealing it. And what exercise do you all think I should do next to relearn how to draw? This week I'm going to go through my various books on art, look for videos and suggestions to choose the very next, very basic exercise for myself that I want to try to do to relearn how to draw. Maybe textures or hatching techniques. I have a book specifically about pen and ink techniques. Maybe I can find some help there. Thanks for joining me. I hope you're becoming a better artist and a better you every day. Come back next time to see if I've done the same.